You've likely watched a friend or loved one sink into a destructive loop, trapped by their own limiting beliefs. Our immediate instinct is to try and talk them out of it. We offer rational advice and lay out the facts, but months or years pass and the patterns remain. To pull someone out of that downward spiral, you have to look past logic. You have to bypass their conscious, rational defenses. Intelligence operators face this exact challenge, but under radically different conditions. They don't have years to persuade a target. They need to trigger extreme behavioral shifts, like committing treason, in a matter of minutes or hours. This obstacle is known as the time-distance problem, and it is the exact hurdle the Behavior Ops Manual was written to solve. Look at this graph. The horizontal axis is time. The vertical axis is behavioral distance, or deviation from baseline. Standard persuasion yields minor changes over a long period. The manual provides methods to jump to an extreme deviation in behavior, bridging the gap almost instantly. These psychological tools are dangerous, but governed by an ethical framework, what the manual calls the author's code, these weapons become a surgeon's scalpel, capable of healing deep psychological suffering. The first mandate of the ethical operator is to see suffering first. Before helping someone, you have to read them as if they are entirely psychologically naked. This is the behavioral table of elements. Instead of chemical elements, it categorizes thousands of unconscious human signals and physical gestures. Take a micro-movement like sudden elbow closure, pulling the arms tight against the torso. This is an ancient biological mechanism designed to protect the arteries. When you see it in a conversation, it is a direct, unfiltered signal of hidden fear. By applying a diagnostic framework called the 6-minute X-ray to these physical tells, an operator rapidly maps out the subject's deepest unmet psychological needs, whether that is a craving for significance or a desperate need for approval. What looks like casual small talk to everyone else becomes a dense, readable diagnostic scan, exposing an individual's hidden vulnerabilities. Once you identify that hidden pain, a question emerges. Why do people continue to make choices that actively harm them? Human behavior is not governed by conscious logic. It runs on scripts, both learned life habits and hardwired ancestral scripts stored deep in the primal brainstem. When foundational needs, like the safety and security identified by Abraham Maslow, are threatened, ancient scripts hijack the nervous system, overriding rational thought to prioritize survival. These misfires are triggered by 4 specific environmental factors, organized into the FATE model: focus, authority, tribe, and emotion. A person's terrible decisions are rarely failures of logic. They are ancient evolutionary reflexes operating blindly out of context. Because these survival scripts live in the primal brainstem, logical arguments and rational language are the absolute least effective ways to intervene. Instead, operators use a technique called pacing their reality. By matching their language patterns and acknowledging their worldview, you instantly lower their neurological defenses. From there, you deploy a tactic called removing the social mask. You provide the psychological permission they need to drop their crippling ego, allowing them to accept outside help without feeling guilt or judgment. Real intervention bypasses advice, surgically hacking primal scripts to inject safety and confidence directly into their mental operating system. Mastering these tools forces a shift in your identity. You transition from a passive character in the background of a story to the active author of reality. Holding the admin password to the human brain carries a heavy emotional weight. You are suddenly hit with the realization of how fragile, terrified, and insecure everyone around you truly is. This terrifying power comes with the burden of empathy. Once you see that hidden suffering, it becomes impossible to interact with people without offering them grace. Influence functions as an architectural system used to rebuild broken structures from the ground up. I challenge you to take on the author's code, using these skills to leave every person you encounter better than you found them. We rise by lifting others.